There are leaders, and then there are those who lead. Leaders may hold positions of power or titles that demand respect, but those who lead, they inspire us. We follow them not because we're forced to, but because we want to. Not because we must, but because something deep inside us says this matters. Whether individuals or organizations, those who lead share something in common, a clear sense of why they do what they do. This is a simple yet profound idea that reshapes how we communicate, how we lead, and how we live. Simon Sinek observed that some people and companies defy all expectations. They're not just successful, they're transformative. They lead revolutions, change industries, rally movements, and they inspire. Others may work hard and even win for a while, but over time they plateau or fall because they never knew why they were doing it in the first place. The difference is not charisma, strategy, timing, or talent. It is clarity of purpose, a compelling reason that ignites belief in others. In our modern world, we make assumptions all the time. Our brains crave patterns and stories that feel true before we verify them. But assumptions, even subtle ones, can lead us terribly astray. Consider a cold January day in 1933 when a man was sworn in as the chief executive of his country, raised in a Roman Catholic home and celebrated with parades. You might assume this is about John F. Kennedy, but it was actually Adolf Hitler. It wasn't the facts that were misleading, it was the context. In leadership, the assumptions we carry shape the decisions we make. If we're asking the wrong question, even the right answer will take us the wrong way. We often operate by fixing outcomes rather than designing intentions. When American auto executives visited a Japanese car factory, they noticed that unlike in the US, where workers used rubber mallets to make sure doors fit perfectly, the Japanese had no mallets. The Japanese engineer explained, "We designed them to fit from the start." This is the difference between reacting to problems and preventing them by starting from clarity. Don't wait for the door to be crooked. Start with the intention that it fits perfectly from the beginning. There are only two ways to influence human behavior. You can manipulate it or you can inspire it. Manipulation is everywhere. Discounts, deadlines, guilt, fear, and pressure. It works for a while, but it doesn't build loyalty or start movements. Many businesses rely on carrots and sticks. They lower prices to get more buyers, but this creates an addiction where customers only wait for the next deal, turning products into commodities. They use fear, telling us that if we don't act, something bad will happen, which may get compliance but never commitment. They use aspirations that pull us towards something desirable, but without real purpose. These are just sugar highs. They even use peer pressure, telling us that everyone else is doing it, which creates dependency rather than loyalty. True innovation is different from mere novelty. Motorola's Razr phone was sleek and sold millions, but it was style without substance, a product without a why. Compare that to the iPhone, which changed how the industry worked because it aligned with a purpose. Manipulation works for a one-time transaction, but if you want a relationship, loyalty, and someone to care, manipulation fails. Loyalty happens when people believe in your why. When you rely on carrots and sticks, you push. When you lead with why, you pull. And pulling creates gravity, a force people choose to follow. This pattern of purpose is called the golden circle. It consists of three layers: why, how, and what. At the center is why, your purpose, your cause, your belief. Next comes how, the processes or values that bring your why to life. Finally, the outermost ring is what, the products or results you offer, the tangible proof of your belief. Most organizations communicate from the outside in. They start with what they do, then how they do it, but rarely touch on why. Inspired leaders do the opposite. They start from the inside out. Take Apple as an example. They don't just sell computers, they challenge the status quo and believe in thinking differently. Because they start with why, their products are beautifully designed and user-friendly, and they just happen to make great computers. We don't buy from Apple because of their features, we buy because of what they believe. When they released the iPod, they didn't sell a 1 gigabyte music player, they sold 1,000 songs in your pocket. They sold possibility. Because their why was to empower creative rebels, the how and the what became natural extensions. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This isn't just an opinion, it's biology. The golden circle aligns perfectly with how the human brain works. The outer layer, the neocortex, is the rational and analytical part responsible for logic and language. Beneath it lies the limbic brain, which controls feelings, emotions, and all human decision-making, but has no capacity for language. This is why some decisions feel right, even if we can't logically explain them. When a leader starts with why, they speak directly to the limbic brain, the part of the brain that governs trust and loyalty. You can't fact your way into someone's heart or convince them to care with bullet points. If you want to inspire, you need emotion, because purpose is felt, not calculated. Building an organization that lasts requires clarity, discipline, and consistency. Clarity means being able to articulate your purpose simply as a belief rather than a result. Discipline is sticking to your how, your values and principles, even when it's hard. Consistency is ensuring that your what, your products and behavior always reflects your why. Clarity plus discipline plus consistency equals trust. Trust is the ultimate currency of leadership. You can't buy it or demand it, you earn it by being authentic. Authenticity is the alignment between your values and your actions. Leadership is not about power or position, it is about trust. When trust is present, people will go further, take risks, and sacrifice because they want to, not because they have to. Trust emerges when what you say aligns with what you do over time. This is why hiring for cultural fit matters more than technical skill. You can teach a skill, but you can't teach belief. At the Ritz-Carlton, employees are trusted to spend up to $2,000 per guest to solve a problem because they are hired and trained to believe in creating memorable experiences. When people feel safe within a culture, they speak up, innovate, and commit. For an idea to become a movement, it must cross a tipping point. This follows the law of diffusion of innovations, which shows that change spreads through society in waves. Innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. To reach the majority, you must first win over the innovators and early adopters, the risk-takers who follow their instincts and values. They don't need data, they need clarity of purpose. These believers become your evangelists. Apple didn't market to everyone at first. They spoke to the creatives and tinkerers who wanted to make a statement. They spoke to the believers, and the believers spread the word. To bring a vision to life, Y-types need how-types. Y-types are the dreamers and visionaries who see the world as it could be, while how-types are the doers who build the systems and processes to make that vision operational. Without how-types, a Y-type is just a talker with fuzzy ideas. Without a Y-type, a how-type might build things efficiently but not meaningfully. The best organizations are built on this complementary partnership, like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, or Walt Disney and Roy Disney. The visionary casts the dream, and the operator makes it real. As organizations grow, they face the danger of the split. When a company is small, the why is close to the surface, but as it scales, the what often takes over. Meetings become about metrics instead of meaning, and culture shifts from belief to bureaucracy. Success can be dangerous because it creates the temptation to prioritize scale over soul. To prevent this drift, you must use your why as a filter for every decision. Does this product, hire, or policy reflect our purpose? If the answer is no, don't do it, even if it's profitable. Your why is not something you invent, it is something you discover. It is found in your story, your past, and the moments that shaped you. To understand your why, you must go backwards. Simon Sinek discovered his own why to inspire people to do the things that inspire them only after a personal breakdown when his work had lost meaning. For organizations, the why is often hidden in the founder's original story or the problem they first set out to solve. Rediscover your why, don't redefine it. Finally, understand that the real competition is not against others, but against yourself. When you focus on rivals, you become reactive and lose your identity. When you compete against your own potential and your own standards, you stay aligned. Leadership is an infinite game about staying true to your values and vision. The world doesn't need more leaders who manage resources. It needs people who lead with purpose and speak from belief. When you know your why, you don't just change what you do, you change everything.